All right, we're gonna talk about this movie called The Takeover. Basically, you got this guy by the name of Buddy. He's walking to this like military facility, and basically he's like this world-renowned hacker. Next thing you know, all the computers go off in the facility except for Buddy's. They basically track down the hacker. They got military SWAT teams and all this shit going around at somebody's house. Thought they was about to melee a bunch of Russians, but it turned out to be this one little girl named Mel. She basically shuts down government facilities every week. It's like, what the fuck, just a game to her. So she ends up talking to Buddy and they form a little partnership. 10 years later, I guess she's back to doing it by herself in the streets. She goes over to this bus company led by this lady by the name of Linda. And when they get on this particular bus, they do scans or whatever. Now, why is that? This is supposed to be the first one-of-a-kind self-driving bus. Gee, I wonder how that could go the fuck wrong. So basically afterwards, she goes back to the house. She spends a lot of her time just like hacking organizations and whatnot. She basically hacks war criminals and, just takes their money and sends it to proper authorities and whatnot. Bottom line, just stealing from the niggas and giving to the poor or whatever, I guess. How the fuck could she get away for this for so long without niggas trying to kill her? Well, anyway, while she's doing her thing, she got this date with a guy by the name of Thomas. She thinks he's cute and he's supposed to be cooking for her or whatever. So he goes to the spot to meet Thomas. When she first meets him, he's not exactly what she expected. And instead of cooking, he ordered like Chinese food. She's trying to find a way to escape this situation. She talks about, yeah, my friend called, it's an emergency, I gotta dip. So she goes back to the house doing her hacking shit. Then all of a sudden she hears the scrapes at the door like, so she hides out in the back room. Come to find out, you got these two henchmen ready to fucking kill her. So she sneaks out the back and basically dips out. Now she's talking to her other hacker buddies trying to figure out like, who the fuck would try to kill her? I'm thinking to myself, you've been hacking like big time corporations and whatnot. Like, you think anybody wasn't gonna come back and find this shit? Maybe she was just careful with her information. I don't know. Apparently she wasn't careful no more. So she goes to the police station and tries to explain what's going on, but she can't really talk about it without explaining the shit that she does. I'm like, what you do is illegal too. What the fuck? Clearly she didn't think this through. I'm thinking about myself, what are you going to tell the police actually? So while the detective's going to get some information, she's just sitting in the office and she realizes she sees the other two guys that are just walking into a police officer casually. So you thinking to yourselves like, are these guys police too? She's like, oh, fuck this shit. I gotta get the fuck out of here. So basically she dips out. She really ain't got nowhere to go. So she goes back to the guy's Thomas house. Tom's like, yo, what's good? Everything's all gravy. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden the henchmen knock on the door. They start blasting. We're like, oh shit. Then they on the run again. So Thomas is dumbfounded. He's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? But as she's running, she's realizing like, how the fuck did they find us? He's like, oh, let me take the SIM card out of the phone, just stomp the phones out. You know what I'm saying? Toss that shit. And then they go to another spot to hide out. So they go to the spot to hide out. All of a sudden this guy by the name of Rogers calls Thomas looking for Mel. So Roger's like, yeah, you fucking up our operations. Bottom line, we need your encryption code or you about to get duffed out here in these streets. While he's telling her all this, the thing is, apparently Rogers and the crew end up making a fake video, making it look like Mel shot somebody down. So even if she wanted to go back to the police, she can't do that shit now. So now she's got to figure out how this video even circulated or whatever like that. She got to find out who's this guy, Roger, who's trying to get, you know what I'm saying, to her. And the only person that she could think of that could encrypt all this other shit is Buddy. The thing is, she doesn't want to contact Buddy because apparently throughout those 10 years that happened, her and Buddy were stopping war criminals and stuff like that and turning in money. The problem is Buddy was actually collecting on the money. He was using it to finance his own software. And once Mel found out about it, she turned him into Interpol. Thing is, betraying Buddy. But the thing is, like, basically, he never got caught. So for the last 7 years, this nigga's been on the run. But then Mel and Thomas go to this resort area, and Buddy decides to end up meeting up with him anyway. They get back in the car, Buddy's like, man, I ain't worried about it. Water under the bridge, huh? It's not fun to be chased by niggas, huh? So Buddy ends up taking them back to this spot so they get to this, try to get this encryption code done or whatever like that. Meanwhile, while he's doing that, Mel and Thomas have a little one-on-one moment. So Buddy ends up finding out exactly who these people are and what they're doing, but he wasn't able to crack the encryption code. So he's like, okay, here's the problem. He's like, yeah, you were toppling over minor companies. The only problem is this minor company is linked up to a larger company. It's linked up to the Yao Ming company, which interfaces with all type of other random companies attached to it. Bottom line, your video might get to the Chinese government, which is basically will get it all across the world. That happens, you'll definitely have nowhere to hide. So basically, she's got to clear her name and how to figure out how to get this fake video out of there. And how they were able to get her information in the first place. But before they could do that, Roger and the goons show up. Mel and Thomas about to get the car started up so they get up out of here. Buddy's like, yeah, let me shut all this shit down before you get the hell up out of here. But Buddy ends up getting caught by Roger. Roger ends up blasting this nigga. Buddy done did this shit. Mel and Thomas end up making their escape. So basically, when they're driving, Mel reflects back and thinks to herself, how the heck did they have information? And then she was like, oh, the bus. So remember when I said when she stepped on the bus, the little self-driving bus or whatever like that, before you step on it, all scans your information. So when you step on, face scanner. So she's thinking to herself, that's probably how they got the information to be able to put her face on somebody else for the fake video. So basically, she's got to go back to the bus company and get the information off of that shit. Now, the police have been talking to the lady Linda at the bus company or whatever like that, but she said, look, she has no ties to any of this other stuff. But it turns out that's not true. She does have ties to Yao Ming. But the thing was, on her side, she was only involved with the analytics. She wasn't involved in the other crime stuff, other illegal activities and shit. Because we found out when she's in the office and she made the call to Ying, and then all of a sudden Rogers popped up on the call. Now Ying ain't say shit the whole conversation, just looked at her like, he had to say nothing. So anyway, Mel and Thomas pull up at this random location. Thomas is frustrated with all this shit at this point. So he keeps telling Mel, like, we gotta go to the police, man. I'm like, you can't go to the police. She's wanted for murder on a fake video. But it turns out before he got in the car, we get a flashback that Thomas actually making a call to the police already, telling them where they're gonna be. So after he told Mel this information, she dips out and goes over, like, across the subway or something like that. And then about 2 seconds later, the police show up. And they take in Thomas for questioning. Meanwhile, Mel gets back to the city and she gets over to the bus company. So now she's about to break back into the spot and go to the interface program and whatnot. Meanwhile, Thomas is being questioned by the police is basically on some bullshit. They don't know who Rogers is. He's not found in the database, so they're still trying to believe the whole Mel story about shooting niggas. So Thomas thinking to himself, these niggas wasting my time. He ends up dipping out the police station and driving. And I was thinking to myself, and at the same truck they was in, it turns out it was Buddy's truck. Why is this important? I'll tell you in a minute. Meanwhile, Mel's breaking into the interface thing in the basement, like she's hooking up her computer, doing all the little cryptic stuff. Right when she's getting the information, Rogers finds her. We're like, oh shit. So Rogers like, look, put the encrypt code in or you getting done deal out here in these streets. The whole time she's pretending to put the encrypt code in, but he don't know that yet. He ends up putting in the code to stop that shit, then dips the fuck off. The chase begins, Mel ends up hitting Roger with something, making him drop the gun. Back and forth beef, they running, they crawling through the scaffolds, ticket spots or whatever. The police come, they get Mel. Rogers thought he was getting away. He gets trapped on the stairs. Police get him too. But Mel's like, she gotta go back to the computer room so she can get the stuff to clear her name, whatever like that. So apparently Linda and the delegates are actually experimenting on the self-driving bus. But what happened is before the police got to Rogers ended up shooting back or whatever. And the computer started malfunctioning. So guess what? The bus is driving out of control. It's got like 15 people in it, including Linda. So basically Mel's got to find some way to hack the bus so she can stop it. The problem is when Rogers shot the place up, it messed up the satellite to be able to control the bus. So while Mel's on the computer with her hacker buddies, all of a sudden Thomas calls in. She tells Thomas to chase the bus down. Now, why is this? Because they find out that he's in Buddy's car and Buddy's got this little like mechanical thing. It's kind of like a satellite. But the thing is he needs to attach it inside the bus. Once that thing's attached, Mel can control it from what's inside the building. So Thomas pulls up in front of the bus and gets the truck to slow it down a little bit. He jumps into the back of the truck, jumps on top of the bus, opens up the hatch, punches through, and then drops down inside the bus. Then he attaches the green small satellite dish thing inside the bus so that way Mel can get control of it. And they end up stopping the bus before it drives off the fucking bridge. Somebody wanted to get to the bridge on purpose because it turns out the drawbridge was opening up as they were trying to get the bus there. But who are the evildoers that tried to up the bridge? We don't know. Anyway, the bus stops right on time, everybody's safe. And then Mel is able to hack the computer and we find out who really did the shooting. It was one of the Rogers men instead of Mel. Because it shows the real video and then it shows how they hacked her face onto it. So now she's proven innocent of all crimes. Next thing we know, a month goes by, Mel's still chilling with Thomas, and she gets a final video from Buddy. Turns out Buddy, when he was quote-unquote stealing money, he was using the software to give to Mel. Even after she betrayed him, he was still trying to help her out. So now he basically built up a whole network where she can try to stop war criminals and whatnot. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. That's it. I mean, it had a pretty decent plot. It doesn't look like a typical, you know what I'm saying, high-priced movie or whatever like that. It was like done in London. I say check it out. The Takeover on Netflix. There you go.